Code, what is our mission and what are we trying to do? Okay, so our mission is mainly to inspiring women to excel in technology careers. Okay, so that is the main mission of Women Who Code, and I think I don't know if Ifya would want to add anything to it, but that is mainly the mission for Women Who Code, inspiring women to excel in their technology careers. Okay, so we are talking about technology careers and we are focusing on women. Then that does not mean that we do not allow men to join our meetings or to support this mission. I mean, for any man who would want to support this mission, you are totally welcome to join Women Who Code and also be part of our event. Aside that, for our vision, what we want to do is have what we foresee is a world where diverse women are better represented as engineers and tech leaders. I do think you would all know that it's, it's very difficult to see a lot of women in engineering or tech leadership roles, compared to men. So what we want to see is with Women Who Code as a community, we would have more women in these roles and they will feel comfortable being in these roles. So we get to see a lot more women in such areas. So for Women Who Code, with our code of conduct, it is an inclusive community, right? Dedicated to empowering experience, dedicated to providing an empowering experience for everyone who participates or supports our community. Okay, so regardless of your gender or whatever affiliation you have, Women could provide you that empowering experience, right? And most of our events are to inspire women or in their technology career. So you'd see that with Women Who Code events, it's mainly focused on technology and how in your career, it would also help you and inspire you to excel, because we are looking at people who excel in such communities, especially as members of Women Who Code. Then mainly, I think there are a lot of events for Women Who Code Digital. I think we do all know that because of COVID, we're having issues with joining physical meetings, but then we have a lot of online meetings, and that is being made possible with Zoom, right? So for that, it allows us from the comfort of our homes and whichever location it is to meet and still have this engagement. This would have been very difficult for us in physical meetings, but because of COVID, I think having the digital meetings have been helping us, and it's providing us a lot of opportunities. So there are lots of networks, not just Ghana. Women coders across multiple, okay, we have somebody joining. It's across multiple cities all over the world. Okay, so you have that opportunity to join any of these digital meetings, not just the Women Who Code Accra, but any of the other Women Who Code events that are going on globally. Okay, so what you have to do is just look for these events in our social media platforms. So Women Code social media platforms, you'll find a lot of these events that are available and you can join digitally. Okay, so this is just mainly the information that I would be providing you on Women Who Code. I think when we are done and there is anything, Ifya would probably add. I don't know, Ifya, do you want to add anything to what I've said about Women Who Code for now?
I think you've been great. I don't have any more comments.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, so with that done, we're just going to move in straight to Power BI. Okay. Okay, so let me do this. And okay, I hope you can see.
Yes.
So you can still see my screen. Okay, great. So we're talking about Power BI mainly, and it's about data visualization, but we would be focusing on the two Power BI. Okay. So as I said, I'm the one taking you through it, and it's at Women Who Code Accra meetup. So we start with this code, that is visualization gives you answers to questions you didn't know you had. Okay. Right, so we do understand that there's huge sets of data that is available currently, especially with the proliferation of internet now, because we have internet every day, and even with our devices every day we are producing data, right? So that is as individuals and even as companies. So if you're working in a company or even students, there's data that is always available and there's data that you are always producing, right? The world is just made up of massive data, right, that human beings are producing each day. And if you do check online, you would see that even with just YouTube and your social media accounts, the amount of data that is being produced every minute is just massive, right? And there's a lot of information that is available that we cannot see really because of the huge size of this data that is being produced. But then when we have it represented in a different way, and in this case, making it visual, being it in a diagram in a way that is easier to see and understand, it helps you find some questions of some answers to some questions you didn't even know you had. So you get to find this information just because of that visualization. You get to know that, okay, really, I can get that information, knowing, especially knowing. I'll give an example, a practical example for me. So let's say, even just with my phone, the fact that with every minute it's checking the applications I use on my phone, and the fact that I can visualize and know that, okay, I do spend a lot of time on a particular application. Maybe I spend a lot of time on YouTube, I spend a lot of time on Facebook. These are things that initially I probably wouldn't be thinking about it. But because I have that feature and that visualization available to me, and I get to know that, okay, I think I'm spending too much time on social media, so maybe I have to cut it down. Or I'm spending less time on things that are productive, so I have to spend more time, right? So visualization helps us find these answers to these questions. There are some you probably didn't know, there are some maybe you know, but then with visualization, you're able to find the answer easily. Okay, so then with that, we would then come to a Power BI. So Power BI, as I said earlier, is just one of the data visualization tools. There are lots of other visualization tools that are there. I think the main and the popular ones you would probably know or you've heard of before would be Tableau. So Tableau is one of those data visualization tools that are available. But then there is also Power BI that is by Microsoft, and that is what we will be focusing on. Okay, so at this point, what I would also want to put in is, if you do have any questions, just please put it in the chat, right? I'm okay with you putting in your questions. So if you have any question whilst I'm going through the presentation, just put it in the chat and I would attend to it. Okay. So what is Power BI? So it's mainly a business analytics solution that lets you visualize your data and share insights across your organization, right? Or you can even embed them in your application or your website. Right? So it's able to connect lots of data sources. It's not just limited to one data source, but depending on the data sources you have, there are multiple data sources that you can pick. So giving an example would be, maybe I have data from my Twitter, I have some data from my phone or some other source, that I can connect all these and be able to draw insights out of it. Okay, so you have multiple data sources that you can bring and create these reports on. Okay. All right, and then with Power BI, mainly there are different ways for you to have access to Power BI. So there is the free Power BI desktop that you can just download. So all you have to do is just go to powerbi.microsoft.com and you get a free desktop application that you can download. You do not have to pay for that. But aside the desktop, there's also the Power BI service, and that gives you a bit more functionality. And those ones usually come with a an account that you have to sign up for and also pay, right? So there's a free account though, but then you wouldn't get as much benefit from it as a paid one. So there's a Power BI Pro, there's a Power BI Premium, and all these are available. I think with the Premium, if you do see the price, this is mainly for organizations. So a lot of organizations would use this. As an individual, you probably not be looking at this. Okay, so there's a Power BI Pro. If you do want to go for that, that is also available. But then Power BI would work more for organization because you are sharing that information across or within your organization. But for the desktop, that is free. You can create it yourself, email it, and you wouldn't get cloud sharing service as you would with a Power BI service. But then, so far as you have it on your desktop, you can create the report. You're not limited, and you can email it if you do want to share it, right? So that is a very good offering that anyone can join or enjoy in this case. Right. So I did talk about the fact that I think with this we'll go through a demo, so you get to see these data sources that are available. But with you being able to load data into Power BI, some of the data sources that are available are Excel. You can use Excel, CSV. You can also get data from a database. Also, if you have XML, JSON, any of the other tools or any of the other data sources that are available in Power BI, you can actually get these. You can get these in Power BI and can load data from these sources into your Power BI report. Okay. And then with us talking about data visualization, this is about data. For you to be able to visualize data, it means that there is some data that is available, and for it to give you the right insights, the data should be in the right form. Okay, so that is where Power BI also gives you the tool or the ability to transform this data. So you may get, okay, hi, sorry, I think I have, hello, Ifya, sorry, please, I would continue. I'm just, Ifya or Ida, would you be able to help admit people? I
Oh
think
yes,
I
because
just
you are
keep
being
missing
distracted.
people. Yes, yeah.
You have to make me a co-host.
Okay, okay. Let me do that so that so I think we're participants.
I think there should be
Okay.
more on me, and there should be an option to make me a co-host. Okay.
Yes, I just did that. I don't know if you've been able to. Okay, are you the co-host now? Yes, great. So
Yeah.
yes, that would work because I think I probably just missed some people. Okay, great. So getting back to what I was saying, we are talking about data and being able to visualize it. And if you're visualizing your data, you definitely need that data in the right form. And we do not always get our data in a good form. So Power BI gives you this ability to transform your data and make sure that it is in the right form that you need. There could be some different parts of the information that is not right based on where you got it, that you can just either edit, just change it in a way that it would be in the right form that you want, right? So that is the ability to transform your data. In Power BI, you can also create more columns. So maybe you have tables, you have more information. There's some other detail that is not available or is a derived information. You can also get that from Power BI. There's that ability for you to derive that information from existing data and then add that to create your visualization. So Power BI also has the ability, I think we would see this one, to link tables. So you do not need that information from that one source or just from that one table. They do not all have to be in a single table. You can link multiple tables together and still get your insights and your visualization, and also the ability to create new tables. So maybe I have some information, I do not have a right date table or some other information. I can create new tables in Power BI, link them, and still be able to go ahead with my visualization. I believe in the demo would probably, okay, we're creating table, we might not see it in this demo, but I would speak about it as to where you would need to create table. Then again, we have data visualization in Power BI. I talked about the visualization, right? We talked about data, being able to model it. So now you have to visualize that. So there are lots of standard visualizations that are available. That is pie charts, line graph, and histograms. All these are available. There are lots of them that are standard are available. There's also the ability for you to import visualizations created by others, right? So are these visualizations that people create that are good that you can use? You can just import them into Power BI. And finally, there's also the ability for you to create your own visualization. Okay, so if you want to create your own visualization, Power BI will give you the ability to create one yourself. Okay. So that is mainly what I would say about Power BI before we get into actually seeing how it works. Okay, so any question at this point.
Akua, there's a question about the slides. If you make it available.
Okay, make it, yes. Okay, yes, I think we can do that.
Okay.
So in this case, if Yahoo would be the best way, would we just upload it to a drive and send it to the meetup, or how do we get them to how do we get it to them
There's
individually?
a general announcement, or I mean, I think everybody online here should chat their email too, in case you are not on Meetup,
Mhm.
then we can send it to those who joined today.
Okay, okay, all right, great. So
Please send it
yes,
to email.
do you just send your email in the chat so that we can probably send it to you? If you are from the meetup page, I think we would also send some general announcements there as well. Okay, so I have another question from Elizabeth that says, can Power BI be considered as a database? Okay, Elizabeth, that is a great question. So no, Power BI can't be considered as a database, right? So Power BI gives you ability to get insights from data, but not necessarily a database. So yes, you can import data from databases or any other data source, and then just create visualizations in terms of pie charts, just getting these insights from that data, but not necessarily a database. You know, I think what you probably learned, databases have a lot more features and things that it can do. So aside creating tables and doing all the manipulation with data, with databases, there's a lot more that a database can do that Power BI does not do. That it does not really manage that data for you. Okay, all it's doing is giving you the ability to view your data and a nicer way. Let me just say in a pretty way, right? So it's in a nicer way. Looking at your database, you might not get any visualization. It's just columns and just data. It's all just the raw, right? But then in Power BI, you get to add this extra visualization and this extra, how do I say, beauty to it, so that you can easily get the information you need. Okay.
I also have a question, Ikea. So
Okay.
I went to the Power BI Microsoft and I was trying to install Power BI on my desktop, but it
Mhm.
appeared that it was the authentication is linked to a Microsoft Authenticator. Is that general or is just my PC? Maybe a specific.
Okay. All right. So I think, oh, I'll probably send a link here as well. So there are two ways for it. There's, if you are using Microsoft, there is the start download that would take you to the Microsoft store. I think if you're using Windows machine, will take you right to the Windows store,
Yes.
where it's downloading from the Windows store. There's actually another link by it. I'm not sure. Let me just open it and see if I can show you. There's another link by it where it would take you to a place you can download the exe file yourself, and Microsoft. Let me just, that will allow you to download the exe file yourself and install it yourself, so you can manage that installation. The good thing with installing with the good thing with you installing with the
So
um, store is the fact that with updates, it would easily update it because they are always releasing updates for you. Okay, so with updates, it's easier to manage it that way. But if that is not the case, with you managing your own install, there's the option where now you have to look for the update yourself and just be managing updates instead of the store doing that for you. Okay, so let me see if I can. I'll just send a link in the chat for that. Okay, so all right. So I'm just going to move on and then I'll send the link in the chat for that download. Okay. Um, if you have you seen the link I was talking about?
let me see. I was on the. Did you chat it?
No, no. I think which link were you on currently?
Oh, let me send it to you.
Okay. Let me see if I
Yeah,
think it's on
because
my.
of the pros and cons of the updates, I think I'll go through the store
The store. Okay. All right.
so that their updates are whatever. But
Okay.
that will be something I'll figure out later. But
Okay.
just
All
wanted
right.
you to
Great.
know it doesn't appear that the installation is just install.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. So I'll just get you the link. I think it was on my phone. I'll try and get it onto my machine and
Okay.
send that. Okay. So mainly after you do install Power BI, and you open the Power BI desktop application, this is the first screen you see. So this is usually your welcome screen. So this is in my Power BI desktop. And if you've opened or you've created reports before, you get to see them here, right? But if not, all you have to do is just there are also videos here in case you want other learning tools or tutorials on Power BI. There are all these videos that are available for you to learn. Okay. So with this, I'll just probably close it so that we go through the Power BI desktop application. So you get this interface that provides you with basically most of the things you will need in Power BI. I hope you guys can see. Is it? Well, you guys can see. Can you guys see this video here? Because I think it's overlapping some things.
Which video?
The Zoom video on my screen. I have it. Okay, so wait. I just moved it to the center. Are you guys seeing the same thing?
I
No, please.
I didn't see what you
No. Okay. All right. Great. It's okay. So it's about the videos being on. So your I mean the videos of the participants. There's this whole grid that is showing that. I thought that was being shared as well. Okay. So now I think we can go on to the screen. So mainly, the first thing you need to do in Power BI is get data, right? So you would want to. Can you see my screen clearly? Is the
yeah,
writing and everything okay? All right.
yeah.
So what you need
Yes.
to do is get data into your Power BI. So you want to get data and then you create your visualization based on these data, right? So you see right here, there's this get data icon that you can just click on. So first of all, just clicking on that would bring out which I should be seeing. And okay, great. So this get data gives you all the different data sources that are available to you. I mentioned that there are so many of them. There are about hundreds of them. There are so many. There are just so many of them. So there's the text or CSV, there's Excel, you have XML, JSON, PDFs. You can even get from the web, right? If you do want to, if you do want to filter, this is all. If you want like specifically from file, it just filters it out to only those that are from file. If you're picking from a database, this is where it also you would also. Hi, okay. David says he can't hear. Please, can you hear me? Maybe that
I
is
think
from him.
it's a problem with his. This is not the first time he's chatted that.
He's saying that.
I think
Okay,
it's his
okay,
internet.
okay, right. So from databases, there are a lot of them. There's SQL if you want to use Access Database, Oracle, IBM, MySQL, all that is available for you to connect to. Okay. There's also Power Platform that would have some Power BI data sets that are available. These are mainly from the services. There's Azure. Azure is Microsoft's cloud. So if there's some information in there that you need to get as well, you can get, you can also link it here. There are online services. And online services has Salesforce, there is Dynamics 365, all these tools, all these online services, Zendesk, Twilio, all these online services, you can actually get data from them, even from LinkedIn, if you need to get data from LinkedIn. Okay, so all these are available to you as well, right? And we have the other, which are these other tools that are probably you cannot categorize them specifically. So all these are the sources available. There's web. I think we would be using it here. We'll be using it in one of our demos, so you get to know how you get data from the web. So for our first file, what we would be using, we are using a sample file. So this is some sample file I got online. It's mainly about sales. So it's a sales of a fictitious company, right? So the file didn't have, I think it was a foreign, it was more of a US data file. So I kind of just edited it for it to fit Ghana. So I would just open it so that we get to see the kind of data that's in that file. And then we look at the visualization we would create. So this is an Excel file. So I actually clicked on, or I ended up clicking on web instead. So I am just going to cancel this because what I want is Excel. So I can choose Excel here. And when I do click that, it will take me to my file explorer, and I just have to choose which Excel file I want to get my data from. So this is my sample file that is Enumde Snacks Company, right? Financials. So that is the name of our the company that we have the information about, and we are trying to create visualizations for. So it's an Excel file on the sales for a company called Enumde Snacks. Okay. So now we would have this file being loaded into Power BI. Okay, so what Power BI does is the moment I have it, so I have my Excel file here, and in terms what it does is it gives you the data in tables, right? So you get to see that, okay, this table, there's financials as the whole data set, and then there's the snack sales, and that is my sheet, my specific sheet. So all I want is one of these two actually representing the same data set. So I just pick one of them. I don't know if you can see clearly.
Yeah, we can.
You can, okay, right. So I have all these different columns that are in my Excel sheet. And for me, I think most of this information is okay. So I'm picking one of them. And Power BI will give you the ability to just load it straight away, or it also gives the ability to transform the data before you actually load and start creating a visualization. So what I want to do is transform my data because I just want to make sure every information there it's okay and it's in the right format that I need. So I just clicked on transform data, and it takes some time to process and import all that information here. Okay, great. So let me expand it. So you see this this new window that is available, and it's showing. This is called the Power Query Editor that is available in Power BI. And this is where you get to transform and change the data you have, right? So I can make different changes to this data. It has a lot of tools here. And one of the pros of Power BI is the fact that if you are good with
Yeah,
Excel,
I have a question.
yeah.
So what's the difference between the data that was loaded and this one that has been transformed?
Okay, so this is the data that is being loaded, but it's because I said I want to transform it, it's taking me to this Power Query where I can transform it myself. So I
Got it.
haven't started transforming it. This is the data that is now available in this Power Query for me to transform it.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So the good thing with Power BI also is the fact that if you are good with Excel, you can work with Power BI because it uses a lot of the Excel formulas, right? So if you know any of these Excel formulas and how Excel works, it means that in Power Query, you can actually make changes to it. I mean, it has a lot more features than Excel, but then it does give you that leverage. There's not much of a learning curve if you're already good in Excel. Okay. So this is my data here. I see that there's this column, it's country, but I'm seeing Tema and all that here. And I know that these are like towns, they are not countries, right? So whichever data source I got, they probably didn't label the heading correctly. So all I want to do is, okay, maybe I want to correct it, this name, it's not country. I'm going to make it city. And all I do is double click on the column header and type in my right column name, and now it's been renamed to city. Okay, so I have that done. If you would also notice there's this section here saying applied steps. So this here shows you every step you're applying to your data. It's being put here where I can undo or change any steps. So maybe I just renamed it. I don't want to Maybe I think that is not right, and I want to just take it out. All I have to do is click on this X and it will delete that for me, right? So it will take me back to where I want to be. So with every step that you're adding, you'd see that it's being shown in these apply steps, and you can take out whichever step you do not want anymore. Okay. So in this case, so I have my city, I have my product. I have, what do I have? I have units sold. And I think looking at units sold here, I'm seeing this section, there's like a 0.5, something 0.5. And there's plantain chips, like how do you sell 0.5 of a plantain chips, right? So I don't think this data makes sense. So what I want to do is I'm going to change this whole column so that it becomes whole numbers. I do not want any decimals in this column. So all I can do is with this column clicked, you would see the section here with data type that says it's a decimal number. So I can just change that to whole numbers. And just by doing that now, my columns have been changed to whole numbers because it doesn't make sense to have a 0.5 of plantain chips, right? So in this case, I have, okay, there are different columns. I do see revenue per cookie, cost per cookie. I'm going to change these as well. So this is with me updating the data. I didn't change everything. So per snack, because we know it's not cookie. And I'm just making these changes myself. So I have the right data to deal with. Okay. So I have this information here that I think for now, looking at my columns, I have revenue, I have cost, profit, date, and date is okay. And you notice that some of them, when you look at this section, there are these different symbols that are showing. These are showing the data types. So if I do see 1.2 here, I know that it's a decimal number, right? The moment I click on it, you see the data type is a decimal number. The date, so it automatically, from the data I sent in Excel, kind of apply these data types to them based on the data I sent. So looking at this, you know, okay, this is a date type, so it's already been set to date. If I do want to change it, I can do that, but in this case, we wouldn't be doing anything like that. There's a column called month name that I'm just changing it myself because I'm just making it month, right? So I think our data is okay. We can create a visualization from it, right? So this is okay for our snack. But then there's this other part that I want to get. There's this other information that I want from this data. I want to know the population, right? So this is for an Umde snacks company, and we are only in some specific cities, and we have our cost and our revenue. What I want to check is, okay, what is the total population for these cities that we are there, so that we can just evaluate our performance readily. And for me to get the population, there's something that is on the web, right? I definitely do not have it in my database. So I just go to a site. I think there's a specific site that I found. Let me see if I can open that. So Wikipedia is definitely one of those sites. So I go to Wikipedia, it's still loading. Okay, I do not know what is going on with my machine, but then I hope you guys can see now.
Yes.
Okay, right. So there are two sites that I found. There is Wikipedia, and I see that Wikipedia has this table of all the settlements in Ghana and their population census and all these regions. So I found this, which was good, the kind of information I need. I also found this site that also has the city, the country, population, and it's little less more complex than Wikipedia. Wikipedia has all these extra census, the years, which would be very confusing for me. So I think the site is good. So I want to take the data in the table in this website and add it to my Power BI, okay, so that it can give me the insights that I need. So all I'm going to do is copy my URL here, go back to my Power BI. Okay, so back to my Power Query. From Power Query, I can also add a new data source. So you see that there's a new source here. So clicking on new source is giving me all these data source options. If I don't find mine, I can actually click on more and get more data sources, but the web is here. So this is just what I need. So all I do is click on the web and it opens this for me to put in the URL I want to get that data from, right? So I just put in the data and the URL, I just copy it and say, okay. So it's now connecting to that website and it's going to get that table there for me. And I think that is one of the cool things with Power BI, the fact that any website that has a table, you can actually get that data from that table. So all you have to do is give it the URL, and then you can get that data from that website and use it in your visualization. Okay. So it says table one. That website, aside all the text that was on that site. Okay, so just so that we would be in the same place. This is the link. It has all these written text. That is not important, but just this one table that I need. So in Power BI, it only gives me that table. So it's the same information we saw there. So I pick it and say, okay, there's the table I want. Okay. So now that is being pulled into Power BI. So yeah, so all that table on the website is now in my Power BI. It has extra information I do not want, so I want to take it away, right? First of all, it's table one. I don't think that is right. So I double click, just like any other, and I just rename it to maybe, let's see, town population. So I have renamed it to town population now. And I see this last update. It's not going to help me in my visualization. So I just click on this column and what I do is I press the delete button on my keyboard so that I delete the whole column because I do not need it. There's time zone. I do not need this information as well. So I can just delete it. I see there's countries, all Ghana anyway, so it's not really going to help me. So I'm deleting that. So all I need here is just my city and my population. There are a lot more cities here than what I actually need, right? So Power BI also gives me some ability to filter out the data, right? So there's a list of all, just like you would find in Excel, right? If you have an Excel table, just when you click here, you would see the list of all these cities, and all you have to do is select or deselect the ones you do not want, right? So with the cities I want, so I'm just going to deselect everything and search for, I know specific cities for our other table. So I know we are in Accra as Enumderia in Accra, and then we are also in Tema. So I'm picking Accra, Tema. We are in Kumasi. So I pick Kumasi, and now I do not even remember the other towns. So I go back to my table and say, okay, which other towns are available? Same way I see is, okay, Accra, Kumasi, Sunyani, Takoradi, Tema. So Accra, Kumasi, Sunyani, Takoradi, Tema, right? So back here, yeah, I didn't finish that. So let's do Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, Tema. You remember the other one, Sunyani. Okay. So I'm done with this. Now it filters out to only these 5 towns that I need the information on. So all the other information is gone. It's not available. This is all what I have now. And that is okay for me. I don't need all that unnecessary data anyway. Okay. So now we have these 2 separate tables. One that has my sales for their company. I just want to make sure there are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. One that has sales for my their company in these different towns, and one that has just the population. And I'm looking at joins. I think if you have any idea what databases are, you have different tables that you can merge them and join them together. So I want to do something like that so that my population would also be available in this table for me. So all I do is, whilst I'm in the table I want that information in, there is merge query. So I pick merge query. So I'd click on merge query here. And this is my current table. Okay, which other table do I want to merge it with? The town population. Okay, so now I have town population. And you see here that there are lots of other joins that are available. There's the left outer join. So this kind of like just database, right? So have left outer join, right outer join, full outer join, there's all that. All I want is my left outer join, and I want to connect it with city and city. Okay, so this is how I want that. Power BI will bring you all these privacy levels in terms of some warning about privacy. This is fictitious data, so we can ignore privacy stuff. So I'll just ignore that and go ahead. There's something happening with the privacy. Yeah. See. Okay, so whilst we're waiting for the merge to complete, if you do have any question, you can ask at this point. Are we all okay with what I'm doing? Are we clear on what we are doing at this point? We've not started the data visualization. We are currently in the process. So we have data visualization starts with your data transformation, getting the right data for you. So this is where we are. So now you would see that in our first table, we have this section that says town population. When I click on this, it's actually showing me all the different town, the town record, the row that is linked to it, right? That is the whole thing. That is the city and the population from the table. But I do not want that. Okay, all I want is only the population information. I do not want every other thing. So from here, I can just filter out and say I only need population. Okay, I don't need any other thing. I only need population. It can just use original column name as prefix. I do not want that as well. So I just click that, and now I have my right data. Now I have population associated with every record that I have here, right? So this was what I wanted to get to. So because now we are done, my data is in, I have the right data I need, I have the right information, I can start my visualization. So I'm done with my transformation process. All I do is close and apply, and that is it. So now I can start creating my visualization. It is just going to take some minutes to apply all the changes that I made, and then we can start that process. So how the changes are being applied, let me just get you familiar with this screen. So you would see that there's visualizations, right? There's this pane here that has the different visualizations available in Power BI. It has, when I do hover, okay, stuck in the query, so I can't give you the detailed information. Let me just hold on. So this gives you the multiple visualization. They all have different names and there are multiple ones, right? And there is a section with these 3 dots. What you can do is import. I think I mentioned it in my presentation that you can actually import visualization. So you do import other visualizations from people. In today's session, we are not going to do any import, but that is available to you to explore.
Does the import have to be in Power BI?
Are you talking about it in terms of
like, what do you mean by imports?
Okay, all right, let me just give you an example. So importing a visual, they have multiple things. If you created the visual yourself, or you went to a site where they have different visualizations that can integrate with Power BI, you can download that onto your screen and have that, right, and import it here. There is also more of being able to import from, there's a store. So Microsoft has this community where people create these visualizations. I do want to, let me see, remove, restore. That is not what I want to do. Okay, so get more visuals. This is just so that we have a fair idea of what the importation means. So we have these simple standard visualization, that is bar charts and all those things. Maybe you need these extra visualizations that are not available with the standard bar charts, right? Like maybe you want some word count or word graph, right? It's not a standard visualization, but Power BI and I'd say Microsoft has this community where, or a store, let me just say it that way, where people can individually create visualization, maybe a word count visualization that works with Power BI and make it available. There are free ones, there are paid ones. So you could probably get a word count visualization from this store for free and then just add it to your collection.
Okay.
Add it to your standard
One
ones.
more question. I see R
Okay.
and I. Is it for the programming languages?
Yes. So I think for my side, Pi and R do not come standard. So I actually imported that, right? So, or you probably get, I think now it's standard. Yeah. So it's for R and Pi. So maybe you would want to add some R or Python functions. So this what it does is it gives you the ability to add these R or Python functions to your Power BI. So maybe you're doing some prediction or something you want to add there. It gives you the ability to do that. Right. So I think I mentioned word cloud, right? So these are some of the visualizations that are not standard, but available. So maybe some word cloud you want to add. There are so many visualizations at this point. There are some that are AI, KPIs, maybe you want some gears. I guess they are not standard ones that you would see, but then have been created and you can add them anytime, because there are some limitations to some of the standard ones that probably wouldn't help you, and these ones would give you all the extra ones you need, like maps. It automatically comes with maps, that is the big maps, but maybe there are some other maps that you think are better than that. There's also gauges that might work for you. So like maybe some gauge, something like this, you probably get the standard, but you need it in your visualization. You can just click on add and it would be added to your list here. Okay, so let me just add this one, simple. So all I do is I pick the gauge. Okay, I should probably pick the word cloud, but then let's go with the gauge. So what it's doing is it's importing this visualization. Okay, so now I have this gauge here that I can add to my Power BI. Okay, right. Okay, so I was talking about the standard visualizations that are available. So there is the whole stacked bar charts, column charts. We have line graphs. So there are line charts. There is pie. There's donut chart. These are the standard ones. There's the funnel. You'd get a table. You can add a table to it. And there's also a slicer that you can add. And what we will be doing, we would only be looking at the line, I think mainly the line, the column charts, and the slicer and the table, right? But there are a lot more, and also the graph, the map in this case, but then there are a lot more that you can add to your visualization. Okay. So now I have my information, I have my tables, and I know this is about sales for, as I said, a company. And I want to look at the performance. From your visualizations column, there's also the fields column. That is where you get to see all the fields in the table you just imported, right? And this is what you're going to use for your visualization. So these are the ones that are available for you to use at any point in time in these visuals. Okay. There's the filter that we'll talk about later, but now we are just going to deal with visualizations and fields. Okay. Okay. So now, sorry, now I can start with my visualization. So I just picked, maybe I want profits by month, right? Over the period. So what I can do is I can just select profit. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is just check profit. Okay, so with me selecting profit, you see that Power BI automatically has put in a column chart for me, right? So there's this column chart that only has the profit, and it has only the profit summarized, right? And you see under the visualization, there are these new options that are available for me. So there's the value that already has my profit. Okay, there's something going on in my throat. Please excuse. Okay, right. I think I'm okay now. So I have my values as profit, and that is what I see in my column chart. I want profit by date. So I'm just going to drag date and put it here. It's also a drag and drop. So aside you clicking on it, you can just drag and drop it. And you see that now I have summarized because my data had like 2018 and 2019 information. So this is something that when we looked at the Excel sheets or the data transform, I couldn't probably even see it. We said that visualizations help us even find answers to questions needing we have. I hadn't thought of the different years and that data, but with me just adding the simple visuals, I see that, okay, so the records I have is actually between 2018 and 2019, right? And for me to look at it, I can drill down and say that, okay, let's just look at just 2019. So I have these 2 years, that is 2018 to 2019. Well, 2018 seems like it was very low, and 2019, there was a lot more profit in 2019. So for me to drill down, there's this section here where I can just click on and it drills down into different things. I can look at it in terms of quarters. I can look at it in terms of the months, right? I can do all these. It's available with just this one visual. But then now, what I want to do is, okay, let me double click my 20. Okay, so I think we've already done the drilling. So what I want to do now is, this is giving me only year, quarter. I don't like it this way. What I can do aside the data hierarchy, if you look here, our dates are divided into day, month, quarter, year, right? That gives us that drill down feature. I can change it to just simple date. I don't want the data hierarchy that would change it into all that. And that gives me more information in terms of, okay, I know that it's actually January 2019, July, and all that period, right? So from all this is available to me now. If I do expand it, some of them are not showing because of the month. So it gives me the month and the year in which the graphs would show. So I know that, okay, so maybe this month we did this well, this month we didn't do that. So that is one section. But bar column charts don't really seem to be doing it. I mean, this kind of information, I probably want to use a line chart. And it's as easy as me clicking on the line chart and it would now be changed to transform into my line chart. Okay, so now it's the same column chart information, but then I have it in a line chart form, right? If I want any other visualization that would work, probably I can just click on it and it would be transformed into that. So for this, I think I'm okay with the line charts for our profit by date. Okay. Now, the other thing too is I mentioned that we have the city. So all I'm going to do is just click city because there's some intelligence in Power BI. In this case, I'm also just clicking on city, right? And just as we did with the profit, automatically Power BI tries to find the right visual that would work for you. And you see that the first one, when I clicked on profit, it came with a bar a column chart. When I clicked on city, automatically Power BI, okay, city would be a map, right? So I have the big map here showing me Ghana information. You see that this is Ghana map, and there are some dots that you see here. So there's Accra and these cities, right? So I have the cities in Ghana, and what I want to do is I want to show the different profits.
Is the map truncated because the cities were just those areas?
Yes, yes. So the map is truncated because of that. So there's some formatting you can do if you want to see the whole Ghana map. You can also manually change it. But what it does is it zooms it in around where your data is located.
Okay.
Okay, so because it was around this area, I just have this. If I had it across the whole of Ghana, I would show the whole Ghana map. Right? Okay, so with that, now what I want to do is when I hover over Kumasi, I want to see the profits that Kumasi made, right? And these are like tooltips. So all I'm doing is I'll click profit, move it to my tooltip and say that, okay. Now when I hover over Kumasi, you'd see that I have Kumasi's profit. I have Kumasi's total profit, right? So this is the summarized profit for Kumasi. Okay, my Hoover isn't working. Okay, right. So I have my summarized profits for Kumasi and I have it for all the other towns that have any amount. Okay, so that's it. There's one section that we have not talked about, and that would be for all these, there is always the formatting. I mentioned that. So I can format it in multiple ways. But for the map, the other one, we did not talk about it. But I think for mainly the map, I would want to look at one section for the formatting that will probably I know if we should look at that now. Let's just move on to one side. So you'd see that there's a size, right? There's a size field here that says that this is just to show the size of these dots. How would I say pins? The size of these pins that are there. I can make sure that the pins size for that visualization will tell us, okay, which city had more profit, right? Now they're all the same size, so I'd have to hover over it before I know that, okay, this city actually had more profit than the other, right? So I can just move profit into our size, and you see that now I have that visuals available. So when I look at the map, I can tell specifically that, okay, these ones with like these huge pins are the ones that made a lot more profit. Okay, so with me adding the profit as a size, it will automatically add a profit to the tooltip, so I can remove my profit from my tooltip and just be free. So when I hover over it, now it has all these data available to me because I've added a profit to it. Okay. So now I know I have my profits by city, I have my profits by date. What would I want to know? I probably want to find my profits by the products. We sell a lot of products. So what profit are we making based on these products? So I'm going to pick a column. Oh wait, I didn't. Okay, so one thing that happened is if you have your chart, if you have a visualization still selected and you click on any of the possible visualization, it will change that data into that. So if you do want to create your new visualization, you have to click outside, make sure that none of it is selected. Okay, so I'm clicking outside on my canvas and I see that, okay, this is my new one. And what I want is, I want our profits by so our profit is going to be our values by our product. Okay, so now I have a fair idea just looking at the screen, our profits by our product, and I get to resize it anyhow I want. So wait, okay, let me move it back here. So this gives me profit by product. So we see that, okay, plantain chips is like the one that has the highest. It's giving us a lot more profit. And one of the cool things with Power BI is the fact that when I click on one section, so maybe I want to see Kumasi, you'd see that all the other charts have been changed because of me clicking on just one. Okay, so this is everything. It's being there's this response that is going on where all the other charts in this one report are responding to just me clicking on Kumasi. So everything showing up here is just for Kumasi now. Okay, so now this graph is just looking at Kumasi because in profits by city, I was just looking at Kumasi. So I still get some information here, but now it's filtered to Kumasi. So this is the levels for just Kumasi. And if I do click outside, I'm back to my normal. So that is one of the responsiveness that Power BI also provides. And with that, again, there is also one thing. So there are two visuals that I want to talk about, and then I think we can probably end this today's session. Hopefully, we would have a more advanced or a follow-up Power BI meeting or tutorial so that we can continue from there and get into other aspects. So I'm just going to talk about the table and then the slicer visuals, and then we can try it. So now I have my table. So table, just like an Excel table, any table you would want to. So I pick my table. So now table is just columns, right? So table, what do I want to show in my table? Maybe I want to show my product. I want to show which city. If I see product and city, this is just product and city doesn't seem to be going really well. So let me just take out my product and say I want only city. So I want the city and I want to see profits for these cities. Okay, so I have profits for these cities. What else should I even put? The revenue for these specific cities, and then okay, let's add the units sold. So I'm going to talk about the units sold and just compare it to my population information I have for these cities, right? So I have this as my table and my columns. You can, as I said, we are not talking about formatting, but then that's you can format it and also rearrange it. All I have to do, if I want to rearrange, all I have to do is just swap my columns and it would be rearranged for me. So I can go back to population, city, and all that. When we come to formatting, there's a lot more we can do to this table to make it look more interesting. Right, so with this, I have this information. Hi, is there a question?
Yeah, after you clicked on the Kumasi, the profit by product graph gave two different colors. Please, what does the two different colors mean?
Okay, all right, great. So for the colors, I think, okay, just take notes. I'm going to do it again so that we get to see it. So we have this profit by product, right? This is the current value. This is the total value for all the cities, right? And it is, plantain chips is like 1 million and all that. When I click on Kumasi, what happens is that the big one, the grayed out one, is the total for all the cities. Now the deep blue one is just for Kumasi. Okay, so now when I click on this and I'm viewing this data, this is just Kumasi's plantain chips profit. Okay, so mainly the highlighted one, when you click, it filters out every visualization to only that information. You'd see that this table has also been limited to just Kumasi. So it does that to all the other visualization to give that responsiveness, because there's that intuition that because you clicked on Kumasi, you're just interested in Kumasi at this point. So it's giving you information filtered just to Kumasi at this point. And you can just click outside or anywhere and you go back to all the cities. Okay. Right. So with that done, we're going to our last one, that is slicer. So our last visualization is on slicer. So I come here, I click on slicer. Slicer, what slicer does is it's more like being able to filter your data, right? So I can decide to filter my data by date, by town, by some other, maybe by month name if I want to. In this particular case, I want to have a slicer for my date range, right? So all I do is I pick this date, I put it in the field for our slicer. And what Power BI does is it automatically gives you slicer visualization based on the information. So you see that with my date range, is giving me this slicer that I can drag and drop. I can edit, I can drag it around, I can edit the date with a date picker. Let's look at other things it would do. If I had put in month, which is just the month name. You see that slicer visualization is different now. Now it's more of like a checkbox where I'm picking specific month. So based on the data you're putting in that slicer visualization, it gives you that slicer field. It gives you the right visualization to fit it. So I think we did a month, we did the town. Cities would also be the same thing. So it's more of like either a drop down, a multiple checkbox, or it's going to give you that date range field. We want date again. So let's put in our, oh wait, now it's not going back to my date. Hey, my date is spelled now. Okay. This is giving me, okay, let me see how I can, okay, so list, right, so there's list, there's before, there's after, let me pick relative date. So all these visualizations are even available for you to choose. So let me see, drop down, that is not what I want. So I can choose drop down if I wanted to have a drop down, right? That would drop it down, but that is not what I want. There is between, okay, so this would be the one for between. Okay, so I can change my visualizations as well. So aside it automatically giving you that visualization, you can also change these yourself in terms of you want it to be a drop down, you want it to have all these other things. So like relative time and date can also come in, which would be like last one selected. Let me go with relative date. That would probably give you, let's say, last week, like 1 day, last 1 day, last 1 week, last 1 month. That is kind of relative. But then I do want just my between here, where I choose my date range myself. Okay. So just like I mentioned with all the other things, let's say I want it to be only 2019. So I can just start with my first day in 2019 to last day in 2019. And all my data here has changed to only 2019. Okay, so everything here is changing to 2019. If you do notice, at first we had plantain chips about 1 million, but now it is not 1 million, it's less than that, because it had some 2018 information part of it. That's why I had that 1 million. So this is, the slicer is also great too. That would help you in terms of filtering out the data you need for your report. Okay, so with these visualization done, I did talk about formatting, but we are not going into formatting. So I'm going to go with a very simple formatting aspect, which is like themes, right? So kind of like Excel, you can, and PowerPoint and those, right? You can choose a theme.
Okay.
Power BI has the same thing. Hi.
Yeah, so I use Tableau, and what
Mm-hmm.
you seem to have done on this canvas looks like a dashboard. Was it your
Mm-hmm.
idea to create a dashboard?
Okay, right. So mainly, so in Power BI, you can create a dashboard, but dashboards are only available in the Power BI service.
Got it.
So for the Power BI desktop, you only create reports, right? And the reports, in terms of you putting in the tiles, it can look exactly like a dashboard you want to create, but then the Power BI service has more of let me say a feature called dashboard that makes it easier for creating dashboards, right? But this in Power BI, we call it these are reports, but I mean, you can also arrange it in the form of a dashboard. So it's kind of like a dashboard in a way, but it's more of a report in this sense.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So if I do come to view, they have all these predefined themes that you can choose from. So if I choose this, nothing really changes. Okay, these two are not changing much. I think they're all blue something. So they're not changing. So let me go to a different color scheme. Okay, so I went to a purple color scheme. It took a while. Let me just, okay, so you see that when I went to this purple color scheme, it kind of changed everything to purple. If I do choose the scheme, Now it's green. They have all these predefined schemes that are available for you, kind of like what you would have in either PowerPoint mainly, right? So this is the aspect of the formatting that we'll talk about. Hopefully we will get some other time and we would go into more details in formatting. But with what you have now, I hope it can help you create nice reports and dashboards in Power BI for free based on the data you have. Okay, right. So this is mainly for our introduction to Power BI. If you do have any question, do let me know at this point, and hopefully we would schedule another time to go through Power BI again and a more advanced one.
Thank you, Akua. So,
Welcome.
participants, please put your feedback on Akua's great presentation, and be mindful that we might share it on social media. So, but we do take your feedback seriously, and it's a way that other learners hear about the good work we are doing at Women Who Code Accra. Or you can email it later too, if that's easier for you. So let's clap for Ikea. Ikea, like I learned today, for the longest I've heard about Power BI, but I always use Tableau because that's
Okay.
what I know more. Uh,
Mhm.
but I think I really like the fact that if you know Excel, this will really be like Excel will really be like a stepping stone because all
Yeah.
the formulas carry over here,
Mhm.
and I really like the fact that if you are good in R and Python too, you could potentially, integrate it into the
Yeah.
process of your data transformation or even modeling,
Mhm.
So thank you. I thought this was great.
Welcome. Okay, I see people putting thank you there. Okay, okay. All right, thank you everyone. And I'm glad that you did learn, and all the questions that came up too were great. Hopefully we would this would spark your interest in Power BI, so you get to find a lot more on Power BI. There are also communities in Ghana for I think Microsoft Power Platform that you can join as well, and you get more details about Power BI from there as well.
Okay. All right. Well, have a great weekend, guys. And if you use Power BI because of Akua's presentation, please email Accra at Women Who Code Accra to share how this lesson is impacting your if you're a student, your projects, and if you're a professional, your workplace reports.
Yeah.
All right. Bye for now. And Ikea, I'll catch
Okay.
you on WhatsApp.
Okay. Okay. Right. So, bye everyone.
Bye.
Okay.